Hello and welcome to this week's episode on the Music Misfit Show podcast. I am your host, Ceejay, and on tonight I have a very special guest. He goes by the name of Badger Phipps. And Badger is a longtime friend of mine and also a movie reviewer and a voice actor as well. This episode's a little bit different because we don't actually talk about music. We just nerd out over our favorite movie franchises and our favorite horror films as well. So it's a really good episode. And if you want to support the channel, any help is really appreciated. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button. And you can also find to your right hand side a little Music Misfit Show icon. And if you click that, you can subscribe. Let's get rolling with the episode. Yo, check it out. You are tuned in to the Music Misfit Show. And on this week's podcast, we have a very, very special guest. He goes by the name of... Introduce yourself.
Badger Phipps.
Badger Phipps. And he is a movie reviewer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's one of my main gigs. I have my own little YouTube account. And it's growing bit by bit. I predominantly review movies on there, but I also do a lot of voice work in my spare time. It's one of my main forms of income, and I do use my channel to promote that as well.
Yeah.
So, hell yeah.
Yeah, so what kind of voice acting have you done?
I've been in some video games, not like anything A-list just yet, but I've been in Hunt Down. That was a pretty big banger when it came out. My last big thing that I really did like was a PC game called Last Epoch. I was playing this side character who gives you quests and gives you quests, and you can sell items to him and stuff like that. I was playing as a character in there called what was his name? Grin the Soul Gambler, I believe. Yeah, just do that and little odds and ends. Whatever people hire me to do, if I like the project, I'll do it. I think the most successful thing I've done, it was a strange little project called what was it called? Death Core of Creek or something like that. It's a Warhammer short film, has millions of views, and I was in it, and I was so confused as to why it was so successful, but banging stuff. I'm very happy with it, and I'm flattered by the responses.
Yeah, to be honest, you do have like a great like bassy voice. You know, it's got a bit of a grit in there as well. I can hear it. It's like rah, rah. You know, it's like a man voice.
Man voice. Well, that's the first time I've heard it being described as that. But thank you.
Yeah. So yeah. Actually, I remember that's one of the first things that stuck out to me actually when we first met, and this was actually when you were teaching me some guitar, actually, and I remember wow, like this guy's got such a fat voice. He's still, you know what I mean? Still like, yeah, man, it's really really good.
Thank you, man.
I'm really happy like you've used your voice to do that, because that's one of the things that stuck.
Thank you, man. Yeah, there's a slight like misconception like going on out there. People think that just because like if you're born with a deep voice, that automatically means you're going to be a good voice actor, and it's not the case. If anything, that just means you're going to be good at narrating things like books and all that. But no, in the case of voice acting, it's 100% like, can you act or can you not? And even though I am happy because I love playing bad guys, I do, that they're awesome. Sadly, because of my voice, people always think I have to be the villain all the time. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I'm confused. Not all bad guys have deep voices. I mean, number one, I'm not a bad guy and I sound like this. And number two, like Vin Diesel, he's always a good guy. You know what I mean? I don't get the stereotype, but yeah, but I'm still happy with it all. It's fun.
Yeah, and obviously Vin Diesel is famous for his Fast and Furious, but I believe you reviewed another Vin Diesel movie.
Oh, yeah, you saw that, did you?
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, it's a film that is so buried, hardly anyone knows about it. It's called Strays, and it's one of the most like impressive stories I've ever heard of when it comes to an actor's success story. It's just a really small, humble little drama, kind of similar to like, I don't know, Boys in the Hood, that type of thing. It's one of those like ghetto street type films, and it was written by Vin Diesel. It stars Vin Diesel. It was directed by Vin Diesel. It was produced by Vin Diesel. Like he did it all. We're going back to the 90s, like mid 90s. I think it actually came out like properly in 96, 97 or something. And pretty much him just being an avid fan of films and always wanting to properly break into the industry, he decided to make his own luck 'cause he just couldn't make his own luck. He did this short film called Multifacial, which did very well, but didn't do too much for him. He had some advert work, but didn't do too much for him. So he said, sod it, I've got to put the effort in. So he spent a whole year living on his friend's couch and working as a telemarketer selling tools, and saved up about $40,000 after a whole year and used it to shoot this really small independent feature. And it was pretty solid, man. I had to review it because I found it impressive considering like what it was. And once it came out, it was at like, what was it, Sundance Film Festival or something like that. Through there, not only did his name get passed around, and that's how he became successful, but the Steven Spielberg was the one that caught onto the film and caught onto his short film Multifacial. And that's why, and that's how Vin Diesel ended up in Saving Private Ryan.
Okay.
And not only is it incredible that holy shit he made it in a Steven Spielberg film, like what the fuck, straight after doing that, he also managed to do that. Yeah, he also had his character written specifically for him. That's just absolutely unheard of. It's insane. Vin Diesel made his own luck, and I found that whole thing inspiring. Even crazier is that this film called Strays, Strays was something that us Vin Diesel fans knew of but couldn't see until like, I don't know, 2009, 2010. It took about 13 years for it to finally come out on DVD. It wasn't available on TV, VHS, DVD, none of it. It took about 13 years for it to finally become available to the public. And it was made completely as a passion project for Vin Diesel. And the funniest part about the behind the scenes of the DVD is the legendary Mike Epps, one of my favorite comedians, Mike Epps.
Hilarious, yeah.
I love him. He was actually in Strays with Vin Diesel. It was his first ever movie back in the late 90s. And he was telling people for the longest time, yo, I'm in a Vin Diesel film. But no one believed him because he couldn't prove it, because the film wasn't available anywhere. So in the behind the scenes, he's there talking about how cathartic it is to finally like be able to release it and go, hey, see, told you I'm in this film, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's awesome, man. People don't know that Vin Diesel can act. He's more than just a action star. He doesn't just throw one-liners and beat people up and shoot people. He is really goddamn good when you put him in the right role. Strays, Find Me Guilty, Boiler Room. He's done loads. He's even the voice of the Iron Giant in that wonderful animation film.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, the Disney one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, sorry, DreamWorks one. I mean, DreamWorks.
Yeah, I seen that as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Vin Diesel. See, when I first heard of Vin Diesel, it was obviously Fast and Furious. I don't know what came first, Fast and Furious or Triple X. But that's like when I had heard of
Fast and Furious.
Yeah, so it was Fast and Furious, then Triple X, and obviously as well. What was it? The Riddick film he was in?
Pitch Black.
Pitch Black. Yeah. All awesome movies.
Pitch Black was my introduction to him. The first Pitch Black means so much to me, man. So much.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Actually,
film.
like what? Actually, I want to go and talk about what you said. How he kind of made his own luck. He sounds a little bit like Sylvester Stallone in a way, because he did that with Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a fan of Rocky?
I'm
Yeah,
insulted. I'm about to leave. I'm about to leave here. You joking? It's one of the best franchises ever. It's
yeah,
mostly consistent.
yeah,
That
definitely,
45 years of movies and like hardly any of them are bad. You know what I mean? It's like it's
definitely.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
right. He
like.
did make his own luck with that. Yeah.
Yeah, who do you think's the best villain in the Rocky movies?
Oh man, that one's a challenge. You know, I'm not gonna lie. The one we had recently, Damien. I was very surprised by how brilliant he was. He's one of the better ones. I think it's the original Creed, probably is the one that affected me the most, I'd say. I know it's typical, like, to go for the OG, the original, but what can I say? Like, we're still talking about him all this time later. His legacy is still going on in the films.
Yeah,
Um, I think he has hit the hardest. And it is a shame that spoilers for Rocky 4, but it is a shame that the character died. Because Carl Weathers still looks bloody good to this day, the actor who played as him. If he was still around playing in the Rocky films now, I'd love that. But yeah, chin
yeah. I
chin.
don't. I don't think you've spoilt that for many people. I think they've probably seen it by now.
If they haven't, they need to sort themselves out, man.
100%, hundred
Yeah,
percent. I think, to
absolutely.
be honest, I think I like Clubber Lang. I think he was my favorite villain. He was just badass.
I'm sorry, dude. We'll have to agree to disagree here. He's close to being my least favorite, man.
Oh, really?
I thought he was too over the top. Look, I love Mr. T, man. I love Mr. T. But I didn't like him in that film. I'm sorry, dude. I thought he was too over the top.
I, well, I'd say like it's hard because it depends how you look at it. Like, was he the hardest opponent of Rocky, or was it Ivan Drago? Like,
Oh,
who
Drago, man, Drago. Come on,
he did
come on.
permanent damage to Rocky, didn't he?
Exactly, exactly.
'Cause in Rocky 5, he's like, yeah, he's like losing his mind and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, I wasn't as keen on Tommy. He wasn't, yeah, uh, Tommy Gunn. He wasn't my favorite villain.
Uh, it didn't happen, dude. So who cares? It didn't happen, and Rocky 5 didn't happen either. Okay, it was just Rocky 4, and then it was Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
Um, the it's such an unpopular opinion, but I can't help it. You know, it's just my taste. I can't help it. Believe it or not, the original Rocky isn't my favorite one. Rocky Balboa, the sixth one. That one is absolutely my favorite one. I think it's possibly Sly's like best ever performance.
Hmm.
When you're seeing Rocky in his like early 60s and he's lost Adrian and he's still got some inner demons going on. I just thought it was so beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Love it so
I
much. That
seen
was
that in
my
the
favorite
cinemas
one.
actually. That was great. That was
Oh
really
wow.
good. Um, yeah, and I thought the first Creed film was excellent,
Me
actually.
too.
Second one, not so keen on the second one personally. The
Okay.
new one, really enjoyed it. Thought the new one was really good.
Mhm.
Definitely lives up to the franchise. However, Rocky's not in the new one. They've taken him out. What do you think about that?
Um, well, I'm not happy about it because I love Rocky so much. Of course, I don't even need to say that out loud. It's just so obvious. Um, but I do think that him not being there, it did partly like advance the story because this was 100% Adonis's story,
Hmm.
and him no longer is it about Rocky's legacy or Creed's legacy. This is Adonis's story. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I thought Rocky not being there made him, freed him, so to speak, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
And so yeah, I mean, I do think it worked without him. It would have been nice to see him, but I think it did work well without him, buddy. So I'm not bagging on it too much, you know what I mean?
yeah. The new bad guy was great.
Oh God, yeah.
What was his character's name again?
Damien.
Yeah, Damien. Yeah, yeah. He was great. But I don't want to give too much spoilers. Spoiler alert.
Hmm?
When basically, well, you'll know what I mean. When the photo, I won't spoil too much, but
Oh
when
yeah,
the
yeah.
photo's shown, it's just like whoa, like
Mm-hmm.
bit of a twist, you know, and that really got the dramatic side of the story over for me, and that's I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, I was sold on it, and how the opening scene, you seen them as kids, and that made it like, yeah,
Oh dude, I thought it was gripping, man. Gripping. I loved all that. I really did. And yeah, that photo, when I saw it, my eyes were wide. I was like, no way! Oh no!
Yeah.
Yeah, man,
And
great stuff, man.
what made you fall in love with movies?
I'm. It's hard to describe. I do remember very, very well how it began. I was 4 years old, and I do actually remember a lot of what was going on around there, especially when it comes to films. Because I was born in October 1991. So when I was 4 years old, VHSs, were still around. And I do remember that it began with all of the typical stuff, the Disney stuff, Lion King, Aladdin, Fox and the Hound. And it soon progressed to stuff like, Jim Carrey films. It kind of did me a disservice because I was a little obnoxious, hyperactive kid who was overly influenced by obnoxious characters like Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber. It's like these were really hyper obnoxious, annoying characters. So as a result of that, I pissed off a lot of people at a young age. I ticked them all off, imitating them. I was the class clown, and not in a good way. People did not like me. So it did have a bad effect on me. But I was so obsessed with film. I don't know why, but these VHSs were just precious to me. I rewatched them over and over again on loop. Every Christmas and every birthday, I get something new. And to this day, I still love them, not just due to the nostalgia. When I take off the nostalgia goggles, these films are still fantastic. I mean, who doesn't love Lion King? Come on, man. Come on.
I know.
And something about it just connected with me. Seeing these characters on screen, oh, man, there's just something about the way when they're written well. I I don't always see myself in them. I don't relate to Luke Skywalker. I don't relate to Princess Leia. At least I hope I don't. Jabba the Hutt, maybe, but not. Nah, man, I don't know what it is, but there was something about it where I just became obsessed with it at such a young age. And it got to the stage where I was no longer using my pocket money to buy toys. I was buying like Terminator 2 on DVD instead of getting toys and stuff. You know what I
So,
mean?
I don't mean to cut you off, but that's really interesting. You said Terminator 2.
Mm-hmm.
T1, man. Terminator 1, all the way.
I don't blame you. It's a
Yeah,
masterpiece.
yeah,
Oh, so
definitely.
you prefer T1 over T2, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
I don't have a problem with that at all. I disagree. I prefer T2, but I'm not one of those morons who gets like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean? How could you pick that? Dude, have you seen Terminator 1? It's a masterpiece, man.
Yeah,
Terminator
absolutely.
1 is it has to be in my top 20. Has to be. It absolutely has to be. That film changed the game. And to this day, it has some of the best characters in any film ever. Sarah Connor, everything that she goes through, she is just phenomenal in those films. Kyle Reese, still my hero to this day. Arnie was a G.
Yeah.
Dude, that film's an absolute masterpiece, and I don't blame you one bit for picking it over T2.
Yeah, I think the main reason is I feel like I'm a massive fan of slasher horror movies. I love
Oh, are you?
slasher movies.
Okay, okay.
So I think the first one is more like a slasher kind of horror movie. Plus, Arnie in the first one is like a badass. And then in
Hmm.
the second one he's like all good and I don't know. I like badass Arnie over the kind of good Arnie.
I
But
dig
I
it.
will say you can't knock the special effects and what it did for the time. Like the early 90s, that was like groundbreaking stuff. And
Hmm.
it's still a fantastic movie. I just prefer the first one.
Don't blame you, man. It's so unbelievably good. The second Terminator is quite possibly my favorite movie of all time.
Okay.
Possibly. Because my top three films I keep alternating between. The Great Escape is quite possibly my favorite movie of all time. But then you get the Star Wars trilogy, which I count as one film. I see the original trilogy as one whole film.
Okay.
You get that, and then you get Terminator 2. Those three films I keep alternating between. Each time I see them, I'm like, nah, this is my favorite. That's just what happens. So T2 just might be my favorite movie of all time. But Terminator 1, that has to be somewhere in my top 20. Like, it's just so much to me. You know what I mean? It makes complete sense why you'd pick that over anything else. I get it completely. It's just amazing.
Yeah. definitely. It's there was oh, what was I gonna say? It was to do. Oh yeah. So I think in the 90s, like movies, yeah, it was just such a high caliber of movies in the 90s. I might even say it's possibly the best decade of any movies. What do you think? What's your favorite decade?
I can't I really could not pick. There's just too many.
Hmm.
But yeah, the 90s films absolutely meant so much to me, not just because I was born in them, but there were movies I discovered later on in my adulthood from the 90s that like changed things up for me. Because speaking of my top like favorite films, my fourth favorite film of all time is a 90s film. It's called American History X.
Yes, love
I
that. That's my top three.
Oh really? Oh damn, nice. Yeah, I discovered that like I was 19 when I finally discovered that film. Um, holy moly, it is one of the most breathtaking like experiences I've ever had watching a film. It is just stunning, really hard to watch, but it is absolutely infectious. And Edward Norton was just perfection in it. So yeah, maybe you could say the 90s had the biggest effect on me, maybe. But the 80s were stunning as well, dude. Come on, Terminator, Predator. Come on, man.
Yeah, yeah, true, true. Um, yeah, I think yeah, 90s Matrix, as
Oh yeah.
well.
Oh yeah. Oh damn, man. Yeah, I forgot about that Matrix, man. That's a banger.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but what about Aliens? Come on, dude.
Oh, true, true, true. I think yeah, Aliens. I love Aliens. I prefer it to Alien, and the rest of them. I'd say.
I, I could never pick between those two. I've tried. I've tried so many times I cannot pick between the two. They're just too good.
Yeah. Even though I've kind of contradicted myself, because what I said about the Terminator is
hmm
that it's more like a horror slasher,
hmm
and it's the same thing with Alien One and Alien Two,
Oh
because Alien
yeah.
One is more like a horror esque kind of film, and the second one's more of an action movie.
Yeah, man. That's it.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say actually. With
Mhm.
Terminator 2 as well, I feel like my only criticism about that movie is the first half of the movie is impeccable, like nothing wrong with it, amazing. But I feel as it goes on, it gets worse kind of throughout the movie. I
Okay.
feel like if the second half, the third act, was as strong as the first act, then I might like it better than the first one.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, bloody hell. I strongly disagree with you there, dude. But
Yeah,
I dig it though. I dig it regardless.
yeah,
Yeah, just stunning movies, dude. I love them so much.
definitely. Is there any like movies that you watched as a kid and you seen as an adult, like movies you loved as a kid, but as an adult you went, what the hell is this shit?
I've heard about this. That has never happened.
Okay.
It's not because well, my tastes have pretty much almost stayed the same since I was a kid, and it's not like because I'm so superior to everyone because my taste is so good. It's not like anything like that. It's just because at a young age I was lucky enough to be exposed to like the great stuff, like Star Wars. And there were plenty of other movies that I should not have been watching at a young age, but I was. My mother showed me some nasty stuff at a young age, but it's okay because it didn't mess me up. She showed me stuff like, Alien, Predator, Die Hard, RoboCop, John Carpenter's The Thing. I saw some insanely nasty stuff, but they shaped me. They shaped my tastes. And ever since then, my tastes have like kind of been the same type of thing. I don't look back on anything I watched as a kid and hate now. I still watch them. I still do. I still like those Disney films I used to watch. I still love Jim Carrey stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I've never had that, buddy. What about you? Have you ever had that experience?
Yeah. A few movies. The Power Ranger movie,
I don't remember that. Okay.
1995,
Okay.
and Super Mario Brothers. Love that movie as a kid. Watch it as an adult. Terrible.
Um, okay, I see what you mean, but I still kind of like it just for a good guilty pleasure. It's
Yeah.
fun. It's fun, dude. Come on, man. It's nothing like the games. But Yeah, when I was a small child, I obviously adored it. I didn't know any better, and I was an avid fan of the games. I didn't know any better. But
Yeah.
now that I'm older, I'm like, hey, I still have fun with it. It's a bit of cheesy nut stuff. I don't hate it anymore. You know what I mean? I don't hate it. I mean,
I struggled to finish it. I think I turned it off halfway through. I was like, man, this is so bad. I can't carry on.
yeah, maybe just maybe this new one that comes out next month will be better.
Yeah. Let's hope. And I do like Dennis Hopper though. I thought he was great in the Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, dude, Dennis Hopper's always good though. I mean, even
Yeah,
though it's ridiculous that he's playing as Bowser. I mean, come on,
yeah.
man.
Do you have any other guilty pleasures?
Let me think. I do have a number of them. The recent, well, not recent Predator film, the one that came out before, The Predator. Um, I thought that was mostly terrible, but when I turn my brain off and I take it away from Predator canon, I did think it was quite a funny, like decent time. The same as the first ever Alien versus Predator film. It's not canon, but holy moly, it was fun.
Yeah, yeah.
And strangely enough, the first ever Dungeons and Dragons movie is terrible, but I do have some fun with that one as well. It's
Oh,
over 20 years old, that one, and I do enjoy it. I cannot help it. It's just a
I have to
laugh.
give it a watch. Yeah,
Nah,
Dungeons.
you don't have to give it a watch. You don't. But there's just something about its corniness that I'm just into. You know what I mean? It's just gets to me, just works for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's good stuff. I do like some guilty pleasures every now and again. Choke to death on popcorn as you're watching these and you're having a laugh. Get some beer going. You're all good. You're in safe hands there.
Have you ever walked out of the cinema in any film?
Funnily enough, yeah, but not because it was bad. It was the latest Avatar film. It was only a few months ago. No, it's not because I had a problem with it. I still haven't even seen the film yet. I was 10 minutes into the film, and there was two things that were annoying me. Number one, the screen was just a little bit too cheap, a little bit too blurry, and it's like this really doesn't look that good at all. A regular DVD at my house would look better than this. Why am I paying so much money for this? This is not the Avatar experience that I
Yeah.
was promised. So I was like, I don't want to see it for the first time like this. And number two, there was a drunk guy in there constantly yelling at the screen and chatting crap with his friends. And I did ask him to stop, but he wouldn't listen. And I was like, look, I'm not going to stay here and get a criminal record trying to watch Avatar. So I said, so this, I'll let everyone else do this. And I bowed. Um, yeah, so I just walked out. I was 10 minutes in, I walked out. That was it. So yeah, that was the only time I've done it. Only time.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I will watch that film one day. I will do.
Yeah. Well, I hope you get to experience it proper,
Is it
Um,
good? Yeah. Do you think it's good?
I loved it. I thought it
Good.
was maybe even better than the first one. I'm not gonna lie, I was tearing up at parts. I was like, yeah, it got me, mate. It got me. It hit the strings.
Hmm.
There was times where I was like, oh man, this is really, really good. I don't wanna spoil it for you. I'll let you,
I
um
will watch it. I was that way in the cinema like just over a month ago. I saw the Well with Brendan Fraser,
oh,
and
the whale. Okay.
yeah,
I still need to
yeah,
see that. I've heard
yeah.
very, very good things.
I thought it was exquisite. I loved it, and I was crying so hard in the cinema when I saw the Well. It messed me right up, dude. Right up. I'm so glad people were not sat down next to me because I was crying so hard. I
Yeah.
needed that privacy.
Yeah. It's yeah, there's one movie I've walked out of in the cinema, and it was Van Helsing.
Oh, I don't blame you. I didn't like that.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't just because the movie was crap. It was also because the sound was way too loud.
Oh,
Like they had this. I'd never been in the cinema where I complained about the sound, but it was like almost like it was giving me an earache, you know.
I get
So
it. I get it.
yeah, but as well as the movie wasn't great. If the movie was great and it was too loud, maybe I would have stayed. But
Mm.
yeah, and I was like a kid then when that came out.
Yeah,
What
you
year
would
was
have
it?
been. You would have been. That film was like 2004, I believe.
Yeah, so I was a kid going
Hmm.
into that, and yeah, ended up walking out of it.
Don't blame me, man. Don't blame me, man.
Yeah. What's like? What's the cringiest like scene in a movie you can think of?
Cringiest?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know. I've never thought that before. When something just makes you go, ugh. I can't. I don't. Maybe I'm gonna say Terminator 1's lovemaking scene.
Okay.
Look, dude, that was my one problem with that film. That Carl Reese says to Sarah that I came back across time for you, Sarah.
Oh
I
yeah.
I love you. I always have. No, dude, you're just horny after seeing one picture of her. Get lost.
Yeah.
And then what follows is a lovemaker scene that does not remotely resemble what the real act is like. So yeah, okay, I'll just say that. I mean, I love that movie, but come on, dude, that is some of the cheesiest, ridiculous stuff I've ever seen. Yeah,
What
man.
one of the sex scene, one of the funniest sex scenes that comes to my mind is the Team America sex scene.
Oh, for crying out loud, dude, why'd you have to remind me of that?
When the dolls are having sex, it's so funny.
It's horrifying. It's horrifying, dude. I actually saw the deleted scenes of that, and it's horrible. There's like one point where she like dumps on his chest, and it's so wrong. It's so wrong. I think that was in a deleted scene. I don't know. Either way, it's just I don't know what they were thinking. It's horrible.
It's the creators of South Park after all, you know.
Good point. Good point.
So, I want to ask you your favorite horror movies.
Easily John Carpenter's The Thing.
Good
That's
choice.
that's my favorite horror film of all time. The effects were just absolutely outstanding. The fact they were made by a 23-year-old, Rob Bottin or Rob Bottin, I think that's how you say his name. I don't know. He worked so hard on the practical effects that he didn't have a day off for over a year. He didn't have one day off, and he worked so hard on it that he eventually collapsed due to exhaustion and got hospitalized due to it.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, and he was inventing all sorts of things that had never been done before. Like if he had to invent slime, he was like microwaving bubble gum and stuff. And whenever you saw a puppet get set on fire, that's because it really is getting set on fire. It's actually being destroyed. His work is being destroyed, and he's doing it intentionally. And if he had to redo the take, he had to then rebuild the puppet and stuff. And it's incredible. The effects are outstanding. I love the characters, and to this day, it genuinely does scare me. The soundtrack is outstanding. That film is my religion. If it's not that, though, it's the first two Alien films. Maybe the first Predator film as well. I noticed that these are all Alien horror films. I just noticed that, but I can't help it. Yeah, I love The Fly as well. I absolutely love it. With Jeff Goldblum, that film's amazing.
Yeah, yeah,
I love them all.
Gold. He's
Lost
a legend.
Boys. Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I love all that stuff like Lost Boys as well. The Shining, Silence of the Lambs, Seven. Yeah, they just mean a lot to me, man. See, I can enjoy them. What about you, Matt? What are you into? Because you're the slasher guy.
Yeah, I like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, I love the Friday the 13th movies as well, and I like the Hellraisers as well.
Yeah, I love the first Hellraiser, and I did like the recent remake that we got. I like that.
I haven't seen the remake. I've seen the first four. Have you seen Bloodline?
Uh, isn't that the third one?
No, it's the fourth.
Okay, then no, I haven't seen it. I've only seen the original three, and I couldn't stand the third one, and I wasn't much of a fan of the second one, so I didn't bother.
Yeah, well, personally, I don't know. For me, I actually might think Bloodline might be my favorite one.
Oh, really? Damn, that good?
Yeah, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Well, it's okay. It's definitely better than the second and the third. Yeah, yeah. And as well, I think after watching the second and third, my expectations were not high, you know?
I take it, man.
I watched the first one, thought it was really good, and then my mate was like, "Oh, mate, the second one's even better." So I was like, "Oh, here we go." No, wasn't great. And then the third one was just comical, wasn't it? The third one, he actually turned Hellraiser, because actually there's the story behind that. What happened to the character? You know how he's a little bit more I don't know, reserved and stuff in the first two. You know what I mean by that? He's a
Hmm.
bit more
He's in the back. He's not as prevalent throughout the whole films. Yeah.
yeah. Well, in the third one, the reason they made him more prevalent was actually because of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. So they made him more like Freddy Krueger in the third one.
Makes sense to me. From what I've heard as well, the third film onwards, apparently the scripts for those films were originally not intended to be Hellraiser films. It's just that no one would want to make them into films, these scripts, so they decided to throw Pinhead in there and twist the mythology a bit, and then boom, that's how they became those films. Full blown, I'm not
Really?
kidding. Yeah, so that's a sign of why sometimes the quality dipped.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I discovered Hellraiser very late though, dude. I became a fan of it like only a few, I don't know, in my 20s, put it that way. I wasn't raised with Hellraiser, and
Yeah, me too. Me too, actually.
nice. I liked it enough to become a big fan.
Yeah.
About like 5 months ago, I posted a video of Hellraiser on my YouTube channel, and I did like a.
Plug your YouTube channel where they can find you.
I would just type in Badger Phipps. Last name is spelled Phips. You'll find me on there. I did a video of that, not only a big long review of the Hellraiser films that I've seen, including the remake, but I also did a Hellraiser impression video, which still makes me laugh to this day whenever I see it. I was imitating a scene, acting out a scene from the first film, where he's talking to that woman, and he's like, "The box, you opened it, we came."
Yes.
That type of stuff. I was wearing a very terrible Hellraiser mask, a terrible mask from a pinhead mask. There we go. It was terrible, but I did it just for the sake of a laugh. I even wore a wig to imitate the girl, and it was fun. I do like those films, dude. And yeah, speaking of Friday the 13th, what you mentioned earlier, believe it or not, I haven't really properly watched one really yet. I did watch the 2009 remake, which I thought was bucket loads of cheesy fun, but that's not a proper like original Friday the 13th movie. I
I
do,
rated it though.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I do remember it was just a silly, goofy, fun like slasher. I had fun with it.
Mm.
And I do remember checking out the hilarious, like, guilty pleasure film Jason X. I do remember that when I was in my teens, this ridiculous thing of Jason in space. But I had no idea what was going on. I didn't get any of it, but I understand a bit more now that I understand Jason a bit more. But I do need to check them out. I do. I do need to get on them big time.
Can I give you a recommendation of ones what to check out personally?
Please do.
So I would say personally, my favorite. It's really random because it's not like usually you think like the original ones are the best, but I say it doesn't really get going properly till about the second one's all right. Second one's good. The first one's okay. The third one is a good movie, I would say. Well, good for you know for a horror slasher anyway. You know, in that kind of genre. But my favorite ones are I think it's called, is it the final chapter? Yeah, number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Miss out number 5. Dog shit. And number 6.
Okay. If
They
I
are
remember correctly, sorry, if I remember correctly, Jason's not even in number 5, if I remember correctly.
yes, yeah, he's in
Okay.
it. Yeah,
Okay. I don't know, I wouldn't know. I haven't seen them. I've just heard this. Yeah, apparently they get extra, like, really cheesy around 4 and 6, like, and it becomes really fun, apparently. So
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
check them out.
Well, yeah. Say I'd say most fans would say number 4 is number 2. Yeah, some people say number 2, but I think number 4. It's yeah, it's definitely a good watch.
Good man.
Yeah, and number 6 as well. Number 6, they got it right because they got the balance right between not taking itself too seriously, but still coming across as a good horror film. But there's also like quite a lot of laughs as well. Jason in Manhattan isn't really Jason in Manhattan. It's pretty much Jason on a boat for most of the film, and at the end he gets to Manhattan. that was a bit tricky to watch at the end. I was a bit like, oh, this is a little bit hard to watch, but some laughs as well.
I didn't know that happened. I knew that he was in Manhattan. I thought he was throughout the whole film. I didn't know he was on the boat throughout the whole thing. Oh, damn.
Yeah, he's pretty much in oh, spoiler alert, but yeah, you're not
You
missing
can't you
much.
can't spoil a Friday the 13th film, man. You don't go into those sorts for the story. The isn't the sixth one like where it finally turns into like a goofy comedy? Like
Yeah,
the opening has like a homage to what was it, James Bond. This is James Bond style opening where he's like walking along and then out of blue he slices the camera in half or something like that.
yeah. Well, that's why I like number 6 because it is quite funny as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fair.
it's
I'm not usually a big slasher guy. I mean, I can enjoy them, but because I'm not usually a big time slasher fan, I'm not like constantly on a rush to see them all. So there's still a number of them I haven't seen yet. But
yeah.
yeah, of course, there's some of them obviously I'm a fan of. I mean, some of them changed the game, like the original Halloween, that type of thing. So yeah, I dig it all. I can get on with
Definitely,
it.
definitely. Yeah, I'll say one more thing. Actually, I'll speak it. Are you a fan of Scream?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
I've
So,
got unpopular opinions with them because I'm a fan of the original trilogy. The
mm,
quality dips with each film,
mm,
but I still do really enjoy them. The first one I adore, second one I love, third one I think is possible. Unpopular opinions, I've hated all of them ever since then, and that's why I have not checked out the recent one, the sixth one.
yeah,
I hated number 4 and I hated number 5, so I'm not too much in a rush to see this new one.
yeah. I
Yeah.
seen it the other day. It's all right. It's
Hmm.
yeah. The original ones are definitely the best. Definitely.
Fair.
Not number 3. I'm not a fan of.
I don't blame you. It is flawed as hell. It's so flawed.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of problems with this. They're having a lot of problems with the script, I believe, and there was a lot of things happening behind the scenes with the budget and if they're actually going to be able to film it. And yeah, so
Yeah, you got Jay and Silent Bob making a cameo in Scream 3. What the heck was that? With yeah, are you familiar with Kevin Smith's work?
yeah, I love Kevin Smith. Yeah,
Yeah,
Clerks, man. Like,
yeah, me too, man. I love him. And when you got Jay and Silent Bob making a cameo in Scream 3, it's like, hold on. It was weird. But is what it is. You just gotta roll with it. That was so odd.
what's your favorite Kevin Smith film?
Believe it or not, it's Chasing Amy.
Hmm.
Believe it or not.
Not the only
No,
one to say that, you know. I've heard a lot of people have said that.
I
Yeah.
haven't heard enough people say that, sadly. Not only is it my favorite, this isn't hyperbole. I mean this so sincerely. I pretty much consider it to be a masterpiece. Like it's one of the best films I've ever seen. It not only incorporates like all the typical Kevin Smith laughs, but it's genuinely touching at the same time. It really did touch me. And my favorite thing about it is that Ben Affleck, halfway through the film, gives this wonderful monologue, declaration of love to this woman. And the monologue, the speech he gives, just doesn't sound so realistic. You can't really imagine anyone speaking like this, but this is the thing. Because Ben Affleck's character is an artist, like he actually writes scripts for comic books and stuff, I can tell that he's really good with the words. The character is good with the words, so I can just tell that this character has been rehearsing these words in his head for months now. This can't speak, declaration of love for this woman. So it just, what would normally feel unrealistic, felt realistic in this film's case, and it suited the character, and it just impressed me, man. The film really, really affected me, and I absolutely adore it. I really do. It means so much to me. So yeah, Chasing Amy is the one for me, man. I think it's just so clever, so well done.
Yeah.
What about you, man? What's your favorite one?
Hmm.
It's hard to pick, isn't
I think
it? Usually.
I think Mallrats.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think when I seen Mallrats, I just felt it a lot more because I was at that kind of teenage age. I must have saw it when I was about 17, 18, and I could really see myself in some of the characters, you know, like just
Mhm.
hanging out at the mall, just being that guy, like, smoking out and just, hey man, and as well, and also some of the just like the kind of the struggles they had with like relationships and stuff through the movie. I was kind of going through like similar things at that point as well.
Hmm.
And of course, do you want a chocolate covered pretzel and stuff? The
Oh,
lines like
dude.
that.
Oh, dude. Oh, that was horrible. No.
Snoochie boochies.
Snoochie boochies. Oh, no. Dude, Jay was the best in that. I loved him
Definitely.
so much.
Definitely. I like the bit where Bob takes out his like superhero device. It's almost like Batman and shoots it up. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, from the security guard they were hiding from him. What
Yeah,
was
they're
it?
hiding.
LaFours? I can't remember his name. LaFours or something. But yeah, it was funny stuff, man.
Yeah. So I reckon that's my favorite. But I also love Dogma as well. Dogma
Hmm.
was really good. And I love Chasing Amy. I wouldn't say Chasing Amy is my favorite though. And obviously I love Jane Silent Bob Strikes Back.
Hmm.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
that was
man.
when I seen that, I was just like amazed by how many big actors were in that and cameos
Mhm.
from like Will Ferrell and yeah, so many others as well. That was
That film has some of the best like Easter eggs and fan service I've ever seen in a film. Like you've even got like scenes where they're doing like a fake version of like they break into Hollywood and they're all doing a fake version of Good Will Hunting 2
yeah,
and also Scream 4. Before Scream 4 actually existed, they're doing like a new version of Scream 4, and I thought it was funny. Wes Craven himself is in it, playing as himself, directing Scream 4. I thought it was funny, man. It's got some great stuff in there, man. Have you seen the recent Clerks film, Clerks 3?
yes.
Hmm.
I've only seen it once, so
Same.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Did
I
you like it?
remember enjoying it. I remember being a little bit sad at parts.
Yeah, same. I was slightly disappointed in it because it just didn't make me laugh as much as I was hoping it would. But thankfully, when the feels come in, yeah, it is. It does have its sad moments. It is a very touching film.
Yeah,
But Kevin Smith, man, he knows how to write. What can I say?
I
Talented
haven't
man.
seen his other movie. What's it? The Tusk. I haven't seen that. Uh,
Oh man. Yeah, you've got to go into it with an open mind. I was originally excited for it, like so excited for it because number one, even though I'm not much of a gorehound, I'm not into like the whole torture porn stuff. I did love the first Human Centipede because it genuinely scared me. Genuinely, man, it really did scare me, and the villain was great in it. And Tusk sounded like Human Centipede, but with a twist on it. Like it sounded like, Kevin Smith is giving this a try. I was like, oh, give me some of that. And the first half of it was scary and really. Sorry, let me turn this off. Sorry. The first half of it was genuinely creepy and sinister and really tense at times. Really, really well done.
mm,
But then once the whole transformation happens, it does get it changes like direction quickly. It changes atmosphere. It goes way too over the top and goofy. Johnny Depp has like a cameo in it, and his character, his detective character, is just terrible. It's just like ridiculously over the top. It's like something from the Panther. It's just it's just wrong, and it did lose me toward the end, but it does have its moments, and it is so original. So it is worth checking out. Just keep in mind it isn't as serious as it starts out as. It's yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one.
I seen that other movie he did about the religious nut jobs.
Red
Red
States.
State. I loved that. I thought, yeah, that was gruesome. That was bloody. That was also quite disturbing, actually, and also kind of maybe thinking there might be people out there like that,
Of course there are. Of course.
And I think that's reflection of reflection of real life, isn't it? That
He
certain parts of America.
Absolutely. It's scarily realistic. How Kevin Smith wrote that actually is quite inspiring, by the way, because
Okay.
well, number one, he based it on people he kind of knew of. Because his brother is homosexual and has been married for decades now, he's seen homophobia happen to his brother, and he's seen loads of homophobic people and all that just treating him like crap and blah blah blah. So, first of all, he was partly inspired by real events, partly,
Mm.
and not to the extent where they tried to kill his brother, but you know what I mean. They were just nasty.
Yeah.
But what's really inspiring about it is that Kevin Smith wrote it never knowing where each scene was going to go. That was how he wrote the film. As he was writing it, he never knew what scene was coming next, and he constantly he set a challenge for himself. Whenever he knew what was coming next, he did the opposite thing. He went the opposite direction, and that's why throughout the whole film, it constantly changes direction, goes loads of twists and turns, and even changes atmosphere. Sometimes
Yeah.
it gets funny and horrible. You know what I mean?
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
Good
Definitely.
film, man. Yeah, it is good, man. It is good. I like it. Yeah, it's original stuff, man. It is original.
Are you a fan of Jordan Peele?
Absolutely. I've got unpopular opinions when it comes to his stuff.
What are they?
Well, Get Out, I really, really liked it. Of course, I'm a big fan of it. Of course.
Yeah.
Just didn't see it as the Oscar-worthy masterpiece that everyone else did. I don't know how it ended up in the Oscars and winning Oscars. I don't get that. But it was so well done and such a solid little flick.
Mm.
However, his next film, Us, which polarized loads of people because of how weird and abstract it was, I full-blown adored it. Completely adored it. I understand like how it pushed it too far for other people because of how weird it got, but I just thought it was so original and unpredictable. I thought it was ridiculously clever, and the main actress in it, who plays as the hero and the villain, I thought she was so bloody good in it that she deserved at least an Oscar nomination, but she didn't even get that. I think she should have won an Oscar for it. Just outstanding. I thought it was just amazing. I adored it. And his next film, Nope, it's probably my least favorite of all of them, but I did like it. It was very, very slow paced, but I got swept up in its slow pace though. I was really swept up in it. What about you though? What do you think of him?
So Nope.
Mhm.
Wasn't a fan.
Mm-hmm.
I felt, well, to be honest, I need to watch it again because when I went, I actually fell asleep in the cinema.
Oh wow, yeah. I've done that before. I get it.
I think I was just tired when I watched it, so that might have influenced my opinion on the film and how engaged I was. Yeah, but I thought, like you said, Nope. Yeah, I really, really, really like Nope. And
Oh no, you mean
Us. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, Us and Get Out as well. Like, yeah, them two. Yeah, I will disagree. I think it deserved an Oscar because I believe that a lot of the films that are getting Oscars don't deserve Oscars. You know, like I think there's a lot of films that should be in the Oscars that aren't. You know,
Fair enough.
but Us is probably my favorite. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, it's not common that I meet someone who agrees with me on that.
Yeah.
So awesome. Cool,
Yeah.
man.
Because the end, the end twist, that really sells it for me.
Oh god, yeah. It polarized people, and I don't blame them. But it was just insanely unpredictable. You cannot guess where that film's gonna go. You just can't. It's impossible. Yeah. And it's so original to see. It's breathtaking to have that experience nowadays in a world full of predictable formulas and all that. Wow. Oh, I just loved it. Loved it so much, man. It is original to a fault, depending on what angle you look at it. You know, where you look at it from, because it is so crazy. It can be a bit discombobulating, but I was into it so much.
Yeah, and the soundtrack was great.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's like hip hop remixes, but with orchestras and all that. It's amazing.
I got 5 on it.
Yep,
sure that's from it.
Plus, the double meaning of the title "Us," but it means US. It's trying to describe the USA. I thought it was incredible.
Okay, yeah.
The whole
I
thing.
never even thought of that.
Yeah, it was. The entire thing was a comment on USA. The entire thing.
Social commentary, wasn't it?
Yeah, the entire thing. If you rewatch the film, you will pay closer attention to it. It is trying to say about the dark side of everyone in the country and all that. It's just interesting. Yeah, I love this so much, so
Yeah.
much. Hmm.
Are you into superhero movies?
Ooh. This is where the unpopularity comes in.
I'm probably gonna agree with you.
Um, okay, fair. Well, look, I regret. I just could never really catch on with it. I am, of course, I am. Some of my favorite films are superhero films and stuff. I do love them, but what I find is that the more over the top they get, the harder it is for me to connect with them. Not just because I don't relate to them, but it just becomes a bit too samey. I know that it's such a boring term, superhero fatigue, Marvel fatigue, DC fatigue. I know it's such a typical thing to say, but it happened to me a while ago. Some of the Marvel, I'm more of a Marvel fan than a DC fan, and some of them I love. Some of them I adore. I adored Spider-Man: No Way Home. I love the original two Spider-Man films. The first two, I adore them. I love some of the X-Men films and stuff. There's a lot of them I do love, but most of them are so bloody samey. The world is always at stake, and you know that the world is never gonna lose at the end. It never really does happen, apart from one, but I can't say its name. You just always know where it's gonna go, and I just get bored by its structure.
Definitely.
Um, and believe it or not, and I'm so sorry, guys. I tried. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't even like Nolan's Batman Dark Knight trilogy.
Oh, really?
I
Yeah.
know. I know. I tried. I've seen them so many times. I've rewatched them trying to find something in them, and I can't.
Yeah.
What I find with them is that I love the villains. I love Joker. You know, I love all that. I love Bane. So what I decide to do, what I like to do is whenever I want to watch those scenes, I just YouTube them. I don't want to watch an entire snooze fest like a film that I really get bored with, just to watch some good scary villains. I tried. I cannot connect with them. I don't see the appeal. Sorry, these are my alarms that I set to talk to you. Let me go. They're off now. They're off. Sorry about that, dude. Um, yeah, I've tried really hard with these Marvel films, with these DC films. I've tried, but most of the time I just cannot connect with them. I've seen so many of them, it's gone too crazy. I don't feel the stakes with the whole multiverse and stuff. If one planet gets destroyed, which it won't, if it does, we can just go to another alternate dimension and everything's okie dokie. I'm just bored. I get the love and the appeal. It's very intelligent. It's very hard to make. They've put a lot of effort into it, and it is original. We haven't seen anything like this in movies before, where this crazy big universe of multiple films. It's you got to appreciate it,
Mm.
but I just cannot connect with it. However, this is where the unpopularity comes in, which I'll say dead quick. People won't be able to believe this, but I cannot help it, guys. My favorite superhero films of all time. My favorite one is Unbreakable. M. Night Shyamalan's Unbreakable, which is my all-time favorite superhero film.
Mm.
It is my fifth favorite movie of all time. It means too much to me. It's kind of unhealthy how much I like it. I have the 20-year-old poster framed in my room. Do you know what I mean? It's so important to me. And yes, I even love its sequels, Split and Glass. I even love them. Uh, the way I describe it, this whole thing about superheroes and all that, if you constantly scream at me, I'm not going to understand your message because you're just screaming at me. It's so loud that I cannot hear you. But if you whisper it in my ear, if you quietly say it to me, I'm going to understand what you're saying much clearer. Unbreakable whispers to me. Marvel and DC just constantly scream at me, and it gets quite hard to understand what they're saying. Just the way I look at it.
Yeah.
What about you, though? How do you feel about the whole thing?
Well, I think big corporations are playing it safe by putting all this money into superhero movies, and I would much rather they put more money into more interesting, dramatic stories rather than, yeah, it's just like, what's gonna sell? What's gonna make money? I know, superhero movie. It's like, when will this franchise end, and when? There's a few good ones. Like obviously, like the original X-Men, loved it. Loved the original X-Men. There's a few others as well. The one from the 90s, the not Daredevil, that was terrible.
Blade.
Blade was good. Yeah,
Blade,
love
Blade
Blade.
was amazing.
Yeah,
Blade 1 and 2. Oh my goodness. The
yeah,
first two Blade films are brilliant.
yeah, Blade was good. And what?
Deadpool.
Not Deadpool. The other one. Oh, what's his name? With John Travolta in it as a
Oh, Punisher.
Punisher. Why am I saying dead? Yeah, Punisher. that's what I'm on about. I enjoyed that. I like the more raw, kind of more darker ones. Maybe even the Crow as well.
Oh yeah. I don't think Crow is Marvel though.
Oh no, it's not. Yeah, true, it's not. But it's still a super.
Yeah, I get what you
movie.
mean. Superhero. Yeah.
One of the Marvel ones I did like that stood out to me is one of the better ones was Logan. I enjoyed that.
Man, so good. Yeah, I surprisingly really, I mean, I thought, even as a child, I thought the older X-Men films, even though they completely changed the game, we owe so much to those films. Oh my God. I just liked them. I never thought too much of them as a film goer. Even as a child, I just wasn't so into them. But X-Men First Class and the next two of them, I was really into. Really was into them. And then Logan came along after those films and just blew me away.
Yeah.
Beautiful movie. And I also goddamn adore Deadpool as well. Second one I do like, but the first one just, mamma mia. Yeah, I can love some of them. Even these Marvel films, some of them I can love. I love almost every single Avengers film I've seen. But there's just so much of them that so many of them that I'm just like, too samey. Let's spice things up a bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you seen? It's a bit off topic, but are you a fan of like any like old kind of Beeline movies?
What do you mean by Beeline?
Have you heard of like Frank Henlotter?
No, I have not.
Like Basket Case.
Oh, I know the name Basket Case. Yeah, you mean like the old school B movies that are like over the top and ridiculous. You know what I mean? I haven't seen too many of them, even though I do love old films. I do. I mean, I still love the original King Kong for crying out loud, and that's almost 100 years old. I love old films, I do, but I haven't seen those old school ridiculous ones. They're just not usually my scene.
Okay.
I mean, I do like old B movies. I mean, for example, I love Evil Dead, like the original.
Yeah.
I actually, who am I kidding? I adore the original Evil Dead. I can adore things like that, but yeah, stuff like Basket Case and all that I haven't really checked out.
Yeah. I'm gonna send you some golden ones to check out, you know, because there's in a lot of them there is a lot of quite a bit of rubbish, but there's some good ones in there.
Yeah, dude, I will try. This is what gets a bit challenging for me. Watching new films and all that is a challenge. Because I work really hard on my YouTube channel and my voice work. I do work so hard on them. But bear in mind, I'm also a writer at the same time. And I'm aiming to go to film school, because I haven't gone before. I'm aiming to go there. And to get the time to sit down and just clear my mind and start writing, it's so difficult for me. And that's why it's a struggle to make these videos and stuff. So to check out new films and all this bloody blah, it just gets to me sometimes. So if you send them to me, I will watch them, but you're going to have to give me some time and I'll get back to you and let you know what I think. But I do work hard on my stuff, so it's hard.
Yeah, if you could like direct any type of movie, what would it be?
It would be 100% grounded. Whatever it is, it would be small, humble, and grounded, because that is absolutely my scenario. Not just, as I said, Unbreakable over Marvel any day. Not just that.
Yeah.
But some of my favorite type of films are where the character, it's just stories about life and the characters don't really leave location much. So, I don't know, think the original Friday film means everything to me. So grounded and simple comedy, just them sat in their front garden talking. It's brilliant. I'm also an avid fan of the Before trilogy. before sunrise, before sunset, and before midnight. It's three romantic films where Ethan Hawke's in it, Julie Delpy, and they both meet and agree to spend the night together before they have to part ways and go back to their homes the next day because they're on holiday. They meet, and the whole film is a romantic film of just them walking and talking, nothing else. They walk, they talk, they go to a bar, they have a beer, and they get talking. They play pool, they get talking. I thought the whole thing was astonishing. And then the sequel came along 9 years later, and then a sequel 9 years later came after that. Means so much to me because it's small and grounded, and it's just people having conversations, and I loved it. These are the type of things that would inspire me. So if I was to direct anything, it would be small and grounded. Whatever it would be humble. It wouldn't be anything big. No way.
I'm guessing you're a fan of Tarantino then.
Yeah, to an extent, I do love plenty of what I've seen. My favorite ones are the more grounded ones. Reservoir Dogs might be my favorite, but at the same time, Hateful Eight. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but I can't help it. That one was close to being like his all-time masterpiece in my eyes. I goddamn adored it. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. So yeah, you're right. I am a fan of these ones. Yeah.
I liked Django. That was good.
Same. I love Django. It wouldn't be the type of thing I'd ever do if I ever had the money and ability to do it. I'd never do that. But it's amazing. Great film. Amazing film. Yeah, brilliant stuff. I love it so much. It's great.
Yeah, definitely. What does the future hold for you, Badger? What have you got coming up?
Well, go on.
Yeah, have you any projects, any more voice acting, anything coming up?
I'm trying to think. Voice acting wise, I don't have too much. I did get an offer recently to narrate an audiobook. But the audiobook is not ready yet for me to do it with, but to do it. But I am up for doing that, definitely. There's that. I do aim to go to film school where I want to learn more about directing and writing and getting involved in projects. I'm currently writing my first screenplay, but that's not going to be available to anyone, so I don't know why I'm advertising that. I'm just simply saying that's what I'm doing. And yeah, I'm just going to keep on working on my YouTube channel in the meantime. Yeah, I'm gonna start working on my Mario review soon because the Mario film comes out next month. I'm getting myself prepped for it, taking down notes already about things I need to say, and hell yeah, man, that's just what the future holds for me for now.
Fantastic. Yeah, I love your channel. Obviously,
Thank you.
What you're doing, big up, man. Much respect to you. I've got
Appreciate
one
it.
more question. What makes you a movie misfit?
A movie misfit.
Yeah.
What a title! I love that. I don't know. What does that mean?
Well, usually I would ask what makes you a music misfit, but it's a movie version. So I guess it's what makes you a fan of why don't you fit in because of your tastes of movies, sort of thing.
I see. Because I don't like constant action and people screaming in my bloody ears when I'm trying to watch a movie. I want people to quietly tell me a wonderful story. I want you to show me your heart rather than your fists. That's what I want. And I'd say that's what makes me a misfit, definitely. But if you want me to talk about music and be a music misfit, I'll just doo-boo-doo. Maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm blind, thinking I can see through this and see what's behind. Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying. Doo-boo-doo. Go on, take it away.
I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put the blame on me. Fantastic. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, my man. And yeah, thank you for coming on the show. It's been great. Like I've always wanted to get somebody on and chat about movies and stuff, because obviously I'm a movie avid fan myself, rocking the original Werewolf.
Oh, get in, man. Get in. Just dead quick, have you seen American Werewolf in London, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
And Dog Soldiers?
I haven't seen Dog Soldiers, no.
Okay, when we're done, get on that now.
Okay.
I don't know. You don't understand. Just get on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, good man. Yeah, and
Oh,
yeah, go on.
also, if you ever do make a movie or anything and you need an actor,
Yeah.
let me know because I actually do some acting jobs. I've actually got a acting job later today.
Oh,
So
really? What are you doing?
I'm playing I don't want to say too much,
Hmm.
but I'm gonna be playing like a paparazzi person.
Ah, okay.
So
Legend. All right,
yeah.
well, good luck with that, buddy. That's badass. Keep me posted about that. That sounds great. And yeah, I will do, man. I will do. I'll keep you in mind if I ever do anything like that. Sure.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Man, yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I do appreciate it, see. You're a legend, man.
Absolute pleasure.